You. What's up, everybody? Young Zav out here on my morning run. Again, not doing any sport, just running. But as I am running, I was thinking about another sport and figured it's time for my weekly sports talk update. So again, I know haters are gonna hate on this, but I gotta speak the truth. So a lot of people have been asking me about football. And so the question today is football a sport? No, football is not a freaking sport. Okay, let's start with the obvious, okay? When the name of your sport is already the name of another existing sport, aka football, is what every other country calls what we call soccer. But we're like, no, you know what? We're gonna make a new sport and we're gonna call it football, but the sport's actually going to have very little to do with your foot being on the ball, maybe 2% of the game. So it doesn't make any sense. So when you start a new sport and try to rebrand an existing sport, it just doesn't work, okay? So like call it catch ball or throw ball or handball or run with ball. I don't care, but it's definitely not football. And then we change the name of what real football is and go, let's just call it soccer. That doesn't make any sense, okay? So in my last episode, we talked about how soccer's not a sport. Neither is football when we're trying to steal the name from other countries, okay? So let's just start with that. Secondly, padding, like what? These dudes who are like super jacked, like, oh, I don't want to get hurt, I'm gonna put pads on. Are you kidding me? Okay, so you can't call a sport if it encourages the athletes to not stay in shape. Hey, don't worry, bro. If that guy hits you really hard and you haven't been hitting the gym, it's fine. We're just gonna put big fluffy pads on you, which is why over 50% of the people in the NFL are extremely overweight. It's like, hey, no need to hit the gym. We're gonna put pads on. Like, that's not a real sport, right? Talk to the freaking wrestlers of WCW, WWE, WWF. How boring would that be to watch those dudes fight with pads on? No, like, those are real athletes, right? Like freaking Rikishi, Hulk Hogan, freaking Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock. Look at these dudes. They're jacked, they're in shape. They're not like, oh, I don't want this guy to punch me and tackle me and I don't want it to hurt, so I'm gonna put pads on. That's freaking dumb. So you can't call it a sport if you're gonna be a baby about it and have to wear pads because you don't want to train and get your body in shape so that when you actually get hit, you can live through it. Have you ever heard of AFL, Australian Football League? That's a real sport. Google or YouTube AFL highlights. These dudes don't wear pads. These are real athletes. They make NFL players look like freaking YMCA babies, okay? So it's not a sport if you gotta throw on pads because you're afraid of getting hurt. And finally, the most important argument, I think, is the fact that the NFL promotes quitting, right? Okay, so it's called a punt. They're like, let's call it a punt. So you have 4 tries to get a first down, and after the 3rd try, they're like, it's 4th down and 2 inches to go, and you're like, no, we're just gonna give up. We don't want to go for it, so we're gonna punt the ball and give it to the other team and then let them try and score a touchdown. That is so anticlimactic. That is not a sport. Like, could you imagine if any other sport did that? Steph Curry driving down the lane, freaking gets to the layup, and then he's like, oh wait, there's 3 defenders on me. Here you go, bro. I'm just gonna hand it over to you. Or homeboy gets up to bat, bases are loaded, bottom of the 9th, he's got 2 strikes, and he's like, you know what? I'm not going to try for the 3rd one. Let's just let the other team win the game. What kind of sport teaches players it's okay if you don't want to try and go for it? Like, I hate that in football. 4th down, 1 inch to go. No, let's punt. Let's not try for it. And so all these teams just quit because they're afraid to move the ball a couple inches. And it's like, bro, you have 4 tries to get it 10 yards. How hard could it possibly be? It's not hard. Trust me. I played it many a times. So any sport that encourages their players to just give up on the 3rd try and be like, you know what? Don't worry, you'll get the ball back eventually. No, that's not a sport. So the debate settled Football is not a sport. A, they stole the name of an existing sport. You can't do that. B, they encourage their players to not work out by wearing pads. Oh, don't worry, you don't gotta train. The pads will protect you. And then they encourage you to give up. Like, that is so dumb. Not a sport. The debate is settled. Again, I'm not gonna respond to the hater trolls in the DMs. I know some of y'all are gonna be upset, but I gotta speak the truth about fake sports. I love y'all. Get up, get out, get some exercise, and tune in next week for another Sports Talk update. Peace.